Today we're covering what to do when your kids have a meltdown when they don't get their way. Welcome to Empowered Kids TV Village Talk. You're here because you know every family has the potential to be great, and you're willing to push the boundaries of your mindset so that we can create the family of your dreams. Today we have an amazing coach rejoining us because she's been within the village for some time now. It's Dr. Arayeh Norouzi. Dr. Arayeh has a PhD in psychology with a focus on mindfulness. She's a certified life coach, mindful living, conscious parenting speaker, and conscious teaching and corporate mindfulness trainer. She combines science and heart-based tools to create a transformational and tangible impact on her clients. She's endorsed by Dr. Shefali Sabari, the founder of Conscious Parenting and Oprah's favorite parent. Arayeh, welcome to Empowered Kids TV.
Hi, thank you for joining, for inviting me. I always interview people. Thank you for joining me.
That's right. Okay, so we have an interesting question today. So this question comes from Vicky, and Vicky writes, "We have a 3-year-old son. He has been throwing his toys when he doesn't get what he wants. We have tried to let him know that throwing hard things can hurt, that hands are for high fives and for being gentle. But it's getting to the point where we aren't sure how to approach him without it turning into a huge meltdown on his part. Along with throwing toys, he's also started to hit my husband. Sometimes the hitting is random, but most of the times it happens when my husband is trying to calm him down. My husband is calm and patient with him, but our son will only allow me to comfort him when he's upset. We need to figure it out because I'm due with our second baby soon. Any help?"
Okay. So, once again, how old is he?
He's 3,
He's
and
3.
mom is Vicky. Yes.
Okay. So the first thing to utterly immerse ourselves in is that the brain doesn't get fully developed until 25. I've actually heard the new research 28, so late 20s. So it's so important that we see the child as who he is at this time. 3, I always say, it's kind of a funny analogy, but I always tell my clients, your child at this age is like, imagine he's a cat. Okay, we don't expect a cat to do things for us, right? So releasing that expectation and knowing that the brain is really underdeveloped and the child does not have the hardware. So the part of the brain that actually handles empathy, understanding, other people's pain, all those things really come really late. Even teenagers don't have it. So that awareness, that's the first step for us, to just take a deep breath and say, okay, I'm dealing with a cat here who wants, I want a cat to sing for me and do all sorts of things. No. So really to see the child for who he is in front of us, that is number one thing. So the number 2 thing is that behavior is a symptom. Any sort of behavior is a way of communication. So if there is hitting involved, it means the child is probably feeling unheard, is feeling frustrated about something. Something is going on. And as parents, we are responsible to figure out what that something is and offer that to the child, because the child doesn't know how to do that himself, right? So it's so important. I love this iceberg poster that I have. That behavior is a symptom, and it's always just the tip of the iceberg. I don't know where I'm going here. The tip of the iceberg. And then underneath, there's 95% of many reasons that one or more of these reasons could be true in any case. Am I loved? Am I worthy? Am I safe? Am I being heard? Can I do this? Do I matter? Do I have a choice? Do I belong? So this is, again, another tip that we should really, in that space, that we create a pause to remember that any behavior is a form of communication and the behavior is a symptom. Therefore, instead of going to fix the behavior because we're going to give a lecture, hands are not for hitting and all those things, and it's okay to have that education, but number one thing is to know that in that moment when the child is having the meltdown, his left brain is completely shut down, so the words cannot be processed, the lessons cannot be learned, so we have to withdraw from teaching in that moment. So the best thing to do in that moment, because the left brain that is for logical reasoning is shut down, we're going to go through the back door. We're going to go to the right brain, which is about emotional processing. So we're going to connect. Connection is going to be the key over here, and we just connect to them to figure out what are those reasons that might exist underneath the iceberg, so we can offer that to the child and really heal the wound instead of fixing the symptom, right?
You know what I love about this? It's, I think, almost like impulsive for us as parents, that when our kids are in that space, that moment where they're having a hard time for whatever reason, and the behavior is not in alignment with our expectation, we have this, we're jumping in. Okay, this is what you should be doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going into this whole class of how they should behave without recognizing that our kids can't even hear us. And then we go, I told you 100 times.
They don't hear. They don't hear. So we just waste our time and energy and resources. So we better not talk. So the fewer words, the better. Actually, that's one of the challenges I give parents, to just have 20% of what you say, because most of the words, they don't get even processed. They don't even hear it. So especially in the moment when they're having meltdowns, it's super important to withdraw from words, withdraw from teaching, just connect through the back door, through the right part of the brain, through connection. Are you out of hug, honey? What's going on? So we're going to connect to that unmet need that is underneath. And most of the time, actually, that connectedness, because we all actually, as adults, we all seek to be seen, right? So the 4 S's, Dr. Dan Siegel's 4 S's of attachment parenting: seen, safe, soothed, and secure. That's what they're struggling for. And maybe, like, we are not therapists, all of us, we are not, but we somehow are coaches of our children. We have to kind of do a little bit of therapy to figure out what is underneath, right? So, and most of the time, that feeling of being seen and I matter, I have a choice. So, again, one or two things. The most important thing is feeling that connectedness, and maybe in this case, the parent has done that. I highly recommend one-on-one time, at least 10 minutes every day, snuggle time at night, laugh time throughout the day. But the other one is the autonomy. So maybe the child is feeling really striving to achieve that autonomy, and we've violated that sense of autonomy because we have been ordering around, right? Do this, do that, and this is right and that is wrong. So I suggest one of the ways to fulfill this basic psychological need is to give 2 choices. So whenever you want to ask something, always come up with 2, maybe ridiculous options, even like you want to brush your teeth now or in 5 minutes, but give the 2 choices so they feel they're autonomous and they are the one who are choosing those options, that they don't feel like, oh, I've been ordered around. Because let me tell you, no one likes to be ordered around. No one likes to be told what to do.
Absolutely. And I think we are so used to, we start the journey with our infants needing us to do everything. And we don't realize that as they get into toddlerhood and they recognize their own individuality and they start reaching for stuff, that we have to let go a little bit and give them that space. Instead, we go, and it's because if you do it the way mommy expects, then I feel happier, right? It's an easier job for me if you just do it the way I expect you to do it. So we keep going. But sometimes I remember when my kids were toddlers, I took a log. One day, just one day, I couldn't even do more than one. It was that bad. One day of how many times for the day I just gave instructions and orders, as opposed to treating them in the same respectful way I would treat another adult. And it was eye-opening.
Yes, exactly. Yes. When I had, at the beginning of my conscious parenting journey 4, 5, 6 years ago, my husband, I assume the audience will think, okay, I'm trying to be conscious, but my husband is not, or the other way around. So I told him, you know what, if I tell you go brush your teeth right now, will you? And like, no, why do we expect our children to listen to what I say, to what we say at all times? Dr. Shafali actually calls it, we treat them as slaves sometimes, right? Because why? Because they're just children. They should listen to us. And actually, because they're children, they should not listen to us because they want to be, they're sovereign beings. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. Is there anything else you would advise? So and it's important because I know a lot of parents say, don't tell them what to do. Then they go to the other extreme. They'll just run off and do whatever they want. But I think it's important for us to touch on the fact that there are teachable moments and then there are just connecting moments. And in the heat of the moment, that is not a teachable moment. That's a connecting moment. But maybe later on, if there is a teachable moment, how would you kind of guide as to having that conversation about how we use our hands?
Yes. So I think that could be a teachable point. But let me tell you, there is a more important teachable point right there and then. And what is that? Be it to teach it. So in that moment when he's having the meltdown, it's so important that I'm not having a meltdown. I'm not yelling. I'm not punishing. I'm not, doing all sorts of punitive measures, right? I'm teaching, and I'm also saying it's okay to have a meltdown. It's okay to be angry. Mommy's angry right now, but I'm trying to move through it. So I think that is the most important. So here's the thing. We like to use words to teach, but let me tell you again, going back to words, they might have like 2% effectiveness. So the best way to teach really is to be it to teach it, to be a good role model. And guess what? That is the most precious lesson we're teaching at that moment, that it's okay. You're frustrated, something is going on, I don't know, you didn't get the dessert that you wanted or whatever happened, and it's okay to move through it. So we are teaching, oh honey, you're upset, something is frustrating you, what's going on, let's I know we can guess, right? We can guess because there should be something, right? And if we are completely clueless about what's going on, to just create that space for them to move through it. And we are giving them life skills, right? Because life is tough, right? And every moment as adults, we come to these heartbreaks, and we don't know what to do because we didn't learn what to do with our big emotions, because our parents punished us, put us in timeout, and spanked us maybe in some cases. But right now we are teaching that it's okay. Emotions come and emotions leave. They are like waves. They come and go. They never stay, right? And it's so eye-opening when I say sometimes that the maximum duration of each feeling is maybe 90 seconds, not even. So we just sit there, we create that space for that emotion to leave. The more we want the emotion to leave, the more we are teaching the kid, oh, I'm bad to be mad. I'm bad to be sad, right? And that is the root cause of so many heartbreaks right now, so many addiction problems, shopaholism, addiction, drug addiction, alcoholism, workaholism, depression, all because we didn't learn how to feel our feelings and move through them. And we thought we were bad because we were crying or we were yelling.
Oh, so beautiful. This was an amazing way to answer this question. And I'm sure for most parents, not just for Vicky, there's a lot that they can take away in terms of how we apply it to our families. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Yes. So for this kind of age, I still think like until 5 or 6, the best way is redirection. So because they know, believe me, they know hitting is bad. So we don't have to repeat ourselves, right? So the best way is to use 2 tools that I recommend and we barely use, and that is humor and playfulness. So redirection, we want to teach, but believe me, they're just frustrated. It's like, do you expect a cat to bark? No. Like in that moment, it's frustrated and doesn't know what to do. It just hits, and some kids and bite and yell and all sorts of things, right? That's just their way of regulating their emotions. They don't know what to do with it, and we are here to teach them by example, to let them know they are okay. So, and that should be enough. We don't even have to talk about it, especially when they're 3. So.
That's absolutely beautiful. Arayeh, thank you so much for joining us today and for helping us answer this question.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. We're all about sharing and supporting this village. So if you found value in this episode, be sure to share it with your family and friends. And remember, this is a weekly show. So if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified of our next episode. As we always say in the village, you're just one connection away. With love and gratitude, Empowerers. Until next time.